Hello, I'm Dilek Tuna. You're watching A News. These are the top stories for the hour. 2 children dead and 17 others injured in Minneapolis school shooting. At least 15 people were killed and dozens more injured after a massive Russian overnight missile and drone attack on Kyiv. President Ilham Aliyev says the Zangezur corridor will open up new transit opportunities, speaking in an interview with Al Arabiya TV. Communities in Minneapolis, Minnesota gathered for a candlelight vigil on Wednesday after an armed assailant killed 2 children and injured 17 others, including students at a Catholic school. Authorities say the suspect, who died by suicide, is believed to have acted alone.
Children held candles at a vigil in Lyndhurst Park in Minneapolis on Wednesday after 2 were killed when an assailant armed with 3 guns fired through stained glass windows into a Catholic church. Authorities say the gunman, armed with a rifle, shotgun and pistol, fired dozens of rounds into students attending Mass, injuring 17 people before taking his own life.
We believe it is one suspect, a sole shooter. We believe he is deceased. He is in his early 20s. Does not have an extensive known criminal history, and we are looking through information left behind to try and determine some type of motive. This was a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping. The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible.
The FBI identified the suspect as 23-year-old Robin Westman, who graduated from the school in 2017. Records show Westman changed names from Robert in 2020 after identifying as female. Law enforcement confirmed that Westman posted videos on YouTube displaying weapons and ammunition, now taken off social media. The videos showed names of previous school shooters scrawled on a rifle magazine, alongside erratic political statements. School children described moments of fear and confusion as the attack unfolded.
So I was just at church, and I heard something like really loud, like I thought it was fireworks in the church, and then I saw the shooting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And so a teacher led me downstairs to the preschool classroom, and so I went there, and me and my friend Cece were just praying, and then we went outside. We were just like waiting there, and then we went to somebody's house to be safe, and then we went to the F-45 thing, and then I saw my mom, and I was just like so happy, I was really glad that she was like with me.
US President Donald Trump said in a social media post that he had been fully briefed on the incident and that the White House would continue to monitor the situation. Trump issued a proclamation honouring the victims, ordering flags at the White House and all public buildings, military posts and naval stations across the United States and its territories to be flown at half-staff. According to the K-12 school shooting database, there have been more than 140 shootings at US elementary and secondary schools this year. The Minneapolis attack occurred just 2 days after the school year began.
US President Donald Trump has held a White House meeting on the future of Gaza, joined by former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair and his son-in-law Jared Kushner. The Oval Office talk centred on post-war plans, with officials stressing the challenge of ensuring Hamas doesn't regain power. Ubay Shapandar reports from Washington, D.C.
President Trump held a policy meeting at the White House on Wednesday to discuss the future of the Gaza Strip and potential plans to rebuild the enclave once the ongoing war comes to an end. The policy meeting included former United Kingdom Prime Minister Tony Blair and Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, who played a key advisory role focusing on the Middle East in the first Trump administration. The discussions in the Oval Office focused on how to increase aid into Gaza. Gaza could be facing a famine, according to some aid groups. Prime Minister Blair and Jared Kushner presented President Trump with ideas for a post-war plan on how Gaza could be governed and potentially rebuilt outside the control of the militant group Hamas. A day-after plan for Gaza would be a key component for any diplomatic initiative to end the ongoing conflict. But rebuilding Gaza, which is essentially destroyed under new political and security management that would then be agreeable to both the Israelis and Palestinians, could prove a difficult task. A White House official told the press on Wednesday that President Trump wants the war to come to an end, and that he wants peace and prosperity to be available for everyone in the region. President Trump began his presidency with a ceasefire agreement that he helped broker between Israel and Hamas. That lasted 2 months until fighting resumed once again. The hope from the White House is that a deal that ends the fighting and returns all the remaining Israeli hostages can then lead to the rebuilding of Gaza and a better life for its inhabitants. The key question for officials here is how can this be done in a way that ensures that Hamas is not able to gain power and threaten Israel once again in order to prevent the repeat of the October 7th attacks that killed over 1,000 Israelis in 2023. I'm Ube Shabander, A News, Washington, D.C.
At least 15 people, including 3 children, were killed and dozens more injured after Russia launched a massive overnight missile and drone attack on Kyiv. Emergency crews continue searching for people buried under the rubble.
Overnight, Russian forces unleashed one of the largest aerial assaults in months, striking Kyiv with drones, hypersonic missiles and waves of ballistic projectiles, according to authorities. Entire apartment blocks, offices, schools and kindergartens have been reduced to rubble, including the European Union delegations building in the city. The EU voiced outrage, calling the strike a clear rejection of peace efforts. It comes as the EU's envoy, Katerina Mathanova, visits the capital. Thousands of residents sought shelter in metro stations, some lying next to train tracks or sitting with children on the floors.
Right to the borderline today.
Emergency crews say they're still pulling survivors from destroyed buildings. Fires broke out across multiple districts and rescue operations are ongoing at more than 20 sites across the city. In the Darnitsky district, a 5-story apartment building collapsed completely, while other residential buildings and offices in Shevchenkivsky and Dniprovsky districts were damaged. Officials say thousands of windows have been shattered and whole neighborhoods left scarred. Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko says he believes cluster bombs were used to cause the most damage, striking more residential areas.
2 children are among the casualties. 1 child, a 14-year-old, was killed. Another child is in a critical condition in hospital. At least 40 people have been injured in Kyiv. There has been a missile attack. We can say that there have been 2 missiles near and at this building. If you take into the account the number of damaged cars nearby, we can say that it was cluster ammunition.
The Ukrainian Air Force reported intercepting most of the 598 drones and 31 missiles launched overnight. But the sheer scale of the assault left defences stretched, according to authorities. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attack, saying Russia had once again chosen missiles over diplomacy. Meanwhile, Moscow's defense ministry said its air defense systems intercepted and destroyed 102 Ukrainian drones overnight, which had targeted at least 7 regions.
Ukrainian representatives are due to meet US officials in New York on Friday in pursuit of ending the war. US President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff will attend and says Ukraine is considering Russia's peace proposal, while Moscow has expressed a desire to resolve the conflict. Witkoff said he's hopeful a peace deal can be reached by the end of the year, adding that final decisions will be made in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, not in Washington. Germany is expanding its military with a new 6-month voluntary service in a goal to double trained reservists. Young men will be asked to participate and women can join voluntarily. Here's more on that story.
Germany is moving to expand its military ranks amid growing security concerns over Russia. On Wednesday, the cabinet approved a draft law introducing a 6-month voluntary military service. The Defence Ministry hopes the scheme will double the number of trained reservists from the current 100,000, with some volunteers expected to continue into full-time service.
The Bundeswehr must grow. The international security situation, above all, Russia's aggressive posture, makes this necessary. We don't just need a well-equipped force, we're already well on the way there. We have been doing this for 2.5 years and will not stop. But we also need a Bundeswehr that is strong in terms of personnel.
Under the new model, starting in 2026, all young men will be required to fill out a Bundeswehr questionnaire on health, education, and willingness to serve, with women invited to do so voluntarily. The programme is voluntary, but if too few sign up, Parliament could revive compulsory service.
But from today's perspective, I am confident that we will initially achieve the numbers we need. Everything else will then be to be assessed in light of developments. But I am truly grateful that we are taking this step today. This puts us back on the path towards a professional army.
Volunteers will receive incentives like drone training, language courses and driving subsidies, starting with basic duties before moving to specialised roles. The proposal now heads to Parliament, where debate is expected, with critics questioning whether voluntary service can deliver enough recruits to rebuild the Bundeswehr.
France's Prime Minister François Bayrou likened the country to a sinking ship, its 113.9% debt and ballooning deficit pulling it under. He called a confidence vote for the 8th of September, hoping to push through 44 billion euros in austerity cuts, eliminating public holidays and freezing spending. Polls now show most French want new elections, but not budget austerity. France's public debt surged by approximately 40.5 billion euros in just 3 months, climbing to 3.346 trillion by the end of March.
Oui ou non?
Does France's situation threaten it with over-indebtedness? Does this situation warrant a response? Well, it's very simple. It's like a boat that has a leak, a hole in the hull, and the hull fills with water. So there are people who say, don't worry, the boat still floats. And from that point of view, we are irresponsible. And we are not irresponsible for ourselves, Mr. Boulot. Not even for you. Not for us. Not for our generation. We are irresponsible for the youngest French people. Do you realize? We have achieved something. I think it will go down in the history books. The country is crushed by debt. And you know very well that this is true. You have done 1,000 reports.
After the break, we'll discuss the latest developments in the Russia-Ukraine war with Enrique Cosero, political analyst from Madrid. Stay with us.
ready to welcome everyone to come to Gabela and to make unforgettable memories.
Welcome to Gabala rafting.
This territory is the most important place in our history. Our ancestors lived here 2,000 years ago, and they had here amazing culture, amazing civilization.
There's something for everyone here. This place is the largest amusement park in Azerbaijan.
Our guests love to have meal in this atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, you see you're in nature,
look at this.
in the forest, and the good food.
It's 6 tons, 579 liters.
And it's a lot of wine.
Biggest cask in the world.
Bandar is not just a holiday destination. It's a symbol of Azerbaijan's growing tourism potential.
The doors are open. Welcome to Gabala, Azerbaijan.
Inside Politics delves deeply into the heart of global issues shaping our world today. Join me for your go-to source of political analysis from across the region and beyond.
Welcome back to A News. Kyiv suffered its most devastating aerial assault in weeks. A massive Russian drone and missile barrage struck across the capital, killing dozens, including children, and leaving neighbourhoods in ruins. Despite President Zelensky pushing for diplomacy, including US-led discussions and outreach to Putin, the violence ramps up. So we'll discuss what this escalation means for Ukraine's future and the international response it demands. Joining me to unpack today is Enrique Cosero, political analyst from Madrid. Enrique, welcome to the program. Now, this marked one of the most intense strikes Kyiv has endured since July. What does that say about Russia's ability and intent to escalate even amid ongoing diplomacy?
First and foremost, thank you for having me today. And answering your question, what we are seeing is Vladimir Putin and Russian army just pushing and pushing and pushing. We didn't expect that the Russian, that Putin or an army or the Russian strategy command going this far in order to causing this 15 deaths, 4 children include. But right now, what Putin is saying is he's putting lots of pressure into the negotiations. Putting lots of pressure in the negotiations and trying to start those negotiations whenever they happen. It's not a question that we get a schedule or some sort of agenda. Whenever it happens, say, okay, I'm the leader here. I'm the one who has the power. I'm the really superpower here. And whatever you want to discuss with me, you got on the other side, or I can threat you with more attacks or more ballistic attacks as today's in order to reach what I want. And what he wants, of course, is Donbass and even more weak Ukraine in terms of recovery. Some sort of weak and lonely Ukraine in terms of recovery.
Mm-hmm. Now, President Zelensky has underscored that Russia is choosing violence over diplomacy. Does this attack strengthen his call for international action, and how?
We need to make another question: which international action? Because we know for sure that all the Western Europe, or more to a point, all the Europe that it's on the west from Ukraine is without a doubt with Ukraine, and not only with Ukraine, just looking with some fear or with some caution to Russia, to whatever Russia can do. And we got in there, and not only Germany, France, UK, and all those countries, but Poland and Finland, and all the Baltic republics, which are the first country under the Russian threat, right? But on the other side, we got Russia, and Russia is not sort of lonely country right now. The other day, I read something that was really clever for me, which was, it's not Russia any longer an Asian European superpower. It's China right now. I mean, China is taking that place in Asia, but in Central Europe as being the most developed power that we already see in the last 10 years. I don't think that Russia is having the great game that Vladimir Putin considers he got. It's only because of China. And we are today, I think it was hours ago, they released a news, which is Russia and North Korea are going to attend a military parade in China next days. So looking at this, we can see how the international powers and how international countries are moving. And what I see is there is no yet any common ground in order to reach an agreement. We know for sure that Donald Trump and the United States want to do something, but they're not applying any effort on that. So there is no, as I said, there is no common ground right now.
And Enrique, amid the stalled peace talks and visible strain in US-Russia diplomacy, what leverage or leverage lost did this assault represent, this last assault?
It's probably in order to reach a peace agreement or even a ceasefire or a truce for a while, they're going to have to overlook it. And the problem is that if you don't satisfy Putin, if you don't satisfy Russia, there is another attack coming. Probably not tomorrow, probably not the next week, but I think in 4-5 weeks, Russia is going to say again, okay, I'm here, I want that, and I'm not going to blink in order to reach it. So you're going to only negotiate under my terms, and otherwise you're gonna suffer another attack. And this is leaving Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, in sort of a desperate situation that right now, as I said before, we can see that weakness, and that weakness is not going to end in just a. It's going to be running all along the recovery. Russia doesn't want full speed Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. And
just the very contrary of that.
Zelensky's delegation is heading to New York to meet US officials. Might this attack actually bolster their case for tougher sanctions or support?
As I said before, Donald Trump and the United States are always talking about the peace in Ukraine and having saying, Donald Trump, I'm upset with Vladimir Putin, and upset is not the hardest term that he used from time to time. But Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, they got sort of a pals relationship. So he's not gonna Yeah, he's not going to risk anything in order to reach an agreement or trying to seat everybody around a table for negotiating, right? Right now, as I see it, it's going to be more of the same things that we've been seeing during the last months. Donald Trump just going and coming back, saying I can solve this trouble, I can reach a peaceful agreement in 2 weeks, and the day after saying, okay, this guy is nuts, I can't do anything with him. So Ukraine delegates going to the United States, I don't think right now is a sign of anything. So we have to wait, because if there is not some serious conscience of sitting on the table and trying to finish the war, this war, what we thought on the very beginning that could only last for days, maybe weeks, right now is a war of attrition. And it is a word of attrition as the Donald Trump's word. I mean, going back and going forth, going forth and going back, forth and going back. And we're going to see, as I said before, we're going to see these attacks every time that Vladimir Putin wants to put some sort of pressure on the situation, on this scenario.
Now, Enrique, Russia says it intercepted Ukrainian drones targeting its infrastructure. Does this show reciprocal escalation, or is it deflection?
Oh, that's a very cruel comparison, and not yours. The situation, the war itself. I mean, I don't think that right now Ukraine can compete in power against Russia. Probably being more smart, probably being more intelligent, probably dealing and accepting and working with all the intelligence that the allies countries are delivering to Kyiv and are delivering to Zelensky. They can do something with that. But weapon by weapon, threat by threat, I don't think that is a very fair competition. We know for sure that Ukraine appreciates really more their sources and their resources and their people that whatever Vladimir Putin is showing. So I don't think that right now there is a fair competition between these two countries.
Okay. Enrique, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. After the break, we'll take a look at key stories shaping the region. Stay tuned.
On World Business, we meet the boardroom leaders making market-moving decisions. And find out how leaders are dealing with continuous technological disruption.
Welcome back to A News. Now we'll take a closer look at the key stories shaping the region. First, in China, where the upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Tianjin is set to chart a 10-year roadmap for development and regional security. Pakistan's planning minister Ahsan Iqbal says this mission reflects the SCO's real strength, emphasizing that lasting solutions to conflicts lie in dialogue and cooperation rather than war.
With just a few days left, preparations are complete in Tianjin for the largest ever Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit, scheduled for Sunday and Monday. The event will gather leaders from more than 20 countries and representatives of 10 international organizations for 2 days of high-level talks. The summit will review past achievements, adopt the Tianjin Declaration, and set out a 10-year roadmap focusing on development, security, and regional cooperation. At the core of these discussions lies the SCO's mission to promote peace through dialogue. Pakistan's Minister for Planning, Development and Special Initiatives, Ahsan Iqbal, stressed the importance of collective action when facing today's challenges.
I think one very important lesson of our times is that these challenges that we are discussing are now cross-border challenges. They are global challenges. They are regional challenges. No single country can fight them on its own. So the solution to most of these problems is more collaboration. Solution to conflicts is not fighting wars. It is through engagement, through dialogue. Every conflict can be solved by dialogue.
His remarks echo the central goal of this year's summit, to strengthen the SCO's role as a platform for peace and problem solving in the region.
So therefore, under SCO, we do hope that the regional conflicts can be solved through dialogue, through greater support by SCO member countries to bring conflicting parties on table. So I think maybe SCO can play a role in bringing about de-escalation in different parts of the world through promoting dialogue through its platform.
As Tianjin prepares to host the summit, expectations are high that the SCO will deliver new momentum for cooperation, dialogue and shared stability across Africa, Asia and Europe.
Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev says that the recent deal with Armenia paves the way for fresh opportunities across the South Caucasus and beyond. In an interview with Al Arabiya, President Aliyev stressed that the Zangezur corridor will boost east-west and north-south routes, benefit Armenia and pose no threat to Iran.
The document signed at the White House between Azerbaijan and Armenia opens absolutely new opportunities for the South Caucasus region and the broader regions of Central Asia and the Middle East. That's according to Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, who made the comment when he was interviewed by the Al Arabiya TV channel in Baku.
Today, the Middle Corridor, one of its branches, which goes across the Caspian from Asia, goes from Azerbaijan to Georgia, to Turkey, and then to Europe, and also to Georgian seaports. This is the only way how to connect Asia with Europe through Azerbaijan. So Zangezur corridor or trip will give alternative. So the second corridor will go through the territory of Armenia. And this is a benefit to Armenia. And I was trying to deliver this message to my Armenian colleagues that they will eventually become a transit country. Every country, if has a potential, tries to become a transit country. We, for instance, we want to be a transit country. We want corridors to cross Azerbaijan from east to west, north to south.
Speaking about the Zangezur corridor, President Ilham Aliyev also mentioned that the project is not in any way a threat to Iran.
There have been a lot of rumors in some media, in some internet sites, that Azerbaijan is planning to occupy Zangezur. Azerbaijan is planning to cut Iranian-Armenian border, and that was absolutely false. We didn't have such an intention. Again, if we wanted to do it, we would have done it. in November 2020, it was very easy to do. And throughout all these 5 years, it was very easy to do. It's only 40 kilometers. Just from military point of view, it will take not much time. Just from both sides you come, from Nakhchivan and from mainland, and you take it.
He also emphasized that the Zangezur corridor will help boost the north-south route in Iran.
What can happen with connection between north and south? It can go through Zangezur. Again, if you imagine the map, it can go from Northern Europe to Russia, to Azerbaijan, and then from Azerbaijan, it can go to Zangezur, enter Nakhchivan, and from Nakhchivan, we have a railroad connection with Iran, which goes to the Persian Gulf. So actually, the Zangezur corridor will not only be east-west, but also north-south transportation corridor. And instead of one north-south route from Russia to Iran, Azerbaijan, Iran, we will have another one from Russia to Azerbaijan, Armenia, Nakhchivan, Iran. So it will be, I think, a win-win situation for the whole region, and there'll be no losers.
President Ilham Aliyev added that when the corridor through Armenia is opened, there will be more opportunities to deliver cargo. According to him, it will be necessary to build a railroad on the Iranian side of the river, which have already been discussed. And if that happens, then part of the cargo will go through Iran.
King Abdullah II of Jordan has made a historic visit to Central Asia, marking a new chapter in Amman's ties with the region. Over the course of 2 days, the monarch travelled to Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, where more than 30 agreements were signed. Our correspondent in Fariza Kalimurzina has the details.
King Abdullah II's visit to Uzbekistan was the first in the history of bilateral ties, giving particular weight to the talks in Samarkand. The two sides signed 15 agreements, including extradition, mutual protection of investments, the lifting of visa requirements, and cooperation in education, science, tourism, and agriculture. Uzbekistan and Jordan also agreed to significantly boost trade, launch joint industrial projects, and set up an intergovernmental commission. Regular flights between the capitals are also under discussion. From Uzbekistan, King Abdullah II traveled on to Kazakhstan. At the Akorda, he held talks with President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, and more than 15 agreements were signed. According to the Kazakh leader, relations between the two countries are now at their most productive stage in the past 30 years. A solid basis for this was laid during Tokayev's visit to Amman in February, when both sides agreed to expand economic cooperation, improve conditions for trade and investment, and launch a series of joint projects. Among the key agreements is a deal to create a joint venture between Kazatomprom and Jordan's national company Jumco to develop uranium deposits. Industrial and research work will continue until the end of 2026. If the results prove positive, the joint venture will be formally launched with 70% owned by Kazakhstan and 30% by Jordan. Kazakhstan is also exploring cooperation with Jordan in the field of drone technology. The Minister of Digital Development, Jaslan Madiyev, noted that although no agreement has yet been reached on joint production, Jordan's experience could serve as a foundation for building Kazakhstan's own drone industry. Currently, 59 companies with Jordanian capital are operating in Kazakhstan. In bilateral trade, turnover in 2024 reached $6.3 million. The visit will conclude with a major business forum in Astana, expected to bring together around 300 entrepreneurs and investors, with both heads of state due to attend. From Almaty, Kazakhstan, Fariza Kalimurzina, A News.
United Nations nuclear inspectors have entered Iran for the first time since Tehran suspended cooperation in June after attacks on its nuclear sites by Israel and the United States. The International Atomic Energy Agency chief Rafael Grossi confirmed that inspectors visited the Bushehr nuclear plant but said no agreement had been reached on their access. Meanwhile, Germany, France and the UK are expected to trigger the snapback mechanism on Thursday to reimpose UN sanctions within 30 days unless Iran resumes full cooperation and engages in serious nuclear talks. Azerbaijan's Karabakh FC has qualified for the main stage of the Champions League for a second time. The return match of the UEFA Champions League playoffs against Hungary's Ferencváros was held in Baku and ended with a 3-2 victory for the guests. However, Karabakh's first match win of 3-1 was enough to secure their qualification. Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev congratulated the team in a post on social media, calling their success a new page in the country's football history. Archaeologists in Georgia have uncovered a human jawbone more than 1 million years old. The find at the Orozmani site south of Tbilisi offers new insight into how our earliest ancestors spread across the globe. Our correspondent has more.
The discovery belongs to Homo erectus, the first human species to leave Africa nearly 2 million years ago. Scientists say that jawbone is among the oldest human remains ever found outside Africa, confirming that this part of Georgia was a crucial waypoint in the early migration of humankind. The Orozmani site may be no bigger than 2 parking spaces, but is proving to be one of the richest. Alongside the jawbone, archaeologists have uncovered fossils of saber-toothed tigers, elephants, wolves, deer and giraffes, as well as caches of simple stone tools. These finds offer a rare glimpse into the environment where early humans lived, hunted and adapted.
So this is such a small site, yes, but it's so rich with bones. I mean, my second day I found a nice little ankle bone, nice little articulation of the astragalus, some foot bones as well. So you go down 5 centimeters every time you go. There's a good chance you're going to find something. And when we look between the 2 different lava flows, I mean, that anywhere we see that, this could be the same thing. So there's so much to be found.
By analyzing the remains, researchers hope to answer key questions about survival: what these first migrants ate, how they coped with new climates, and what conditions allowed them to thrive so far from Africa.
If you want to study how adaptable these early humans were, in which kind of environments they were able to live, these are key locations, because these really, if you think about these early humans that were expanding out of Africa, they were evolved in African environments, and now they were dispersing out of Africa. And here we have this sort of very early hub of these early humans.
The discovery also adds to a pattern of finds in Georgia. At nearby Dmanisi, scientists have already uncovered 1.8 million year old human skulls, and in 2022, a tooth from the same period was unearthed close to Orozmani. Together, they confirmed the region as one of the world's most important windows into early human history. Archaeologists say that with every new season at Orozmani, more fragments of early life are revealed, and each one brings us closer to understanding the origins of humanity itself. It's Nini Nikolaishvili reporting from Tbilisi, A News.
After the break, we'll discuss connectivity in the South Caucasus with Shabnam Safarova, the Chair of Public Union for Progress of Karabakh from Baku. Stay with us.
Welcome to Afghanistan in the summer of 2025.
It's been 4 years since the Taliban came back to power in Afghanistan.
The biggest achievement, obviously, is ending the occupation of Afghanistan. We will strive towards, after 50 years of conflict, to turn Afghanistan into a hub of cooperation amongst the many stakeholders.
When the previous Western-backed government collapsed, thousands in the country scrambled, fleeing in fear of persecution.
دولت فقط می تقاضا را داریم که کم کار زیاد کنه، جوانا در کار مشغول شوند دیگه شوند تا اصلا مجبور نشن برن به دیگه جای مسافرت کنن یا اوج سختی ها را طی کنن.
Mostly maybe the media's telling something about the Afghanistan, about the fight, but they shouldn't believe such a thing.
There are projects to kickstart the economy in the works. The Turkmenistan-Afghanistan-Pakistan-India gas pipeline is one of them.
We're also working diligently with our counterparts in Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, and Turkey to realize the Lapis Lazuli route.
We're here at the Port Torgundi in Afghanistan's western province of Herat. This is one of two starting points of the Lapis Lazuli corridor, the other one being in the north of the country.
بنابراین هر قدر ترانزیت یا مسیر راه‌های انتقالی بیشتر شه، این موثرتر برای اقتصاد کشور.
What is power? Has leadership truly evolved, or are the old rules of geopolitics still pulling the strings behind the scenes? Who is really powerful? And what makes people feel powerless? Our new series explores the secrets, strategies, and consequences of power.
Welcome back to A News. The recent declaration signed between Azerbaijan and Armenia in Washington on the 8th of August has reignited debate over the future of connectivity in the South Caucasus. At the heart of this discussion is the Zangezur corridor, a project that President Ilham Aliyev says will reshape east-west and north-south transport routes, bring economic benefits to Armenia and enhance links across Central Asia, the Middle East and Europe without posing any threat to Iran. To better understand the geopolitical, economic and security implications of the corridor, we're joined today by Shabnam Safarova, the Chair of Public Union for Progress of Karabakh from Baku. Shabnam, welcome to the program.
Hi, Mr. Lark. Thank you for invitation.
How transformative could the Zangezur corridor be for east-west and north-south connectivity in Eurasia, Shabnam?
The Zangezur corridor has very great potential for being transformative. I think it is one of the reasons why this region was kept under conflict and problems over the years. But thanks God today, these problems and bottlenecks are eliminating, and the Zangezur corridor connects to the most strategic transport access. As Mr. President Ilham Aliyev mentioned, it is east-west route linking Asia and Europe, and north-south route stretching from Russia to Persian Gulf. By creating this linkage, Azerbaijan envisions the South Caucasus as a true crossroads of Eurasia. And for sure, it will boost efficiency and it will reduce costs in global logistics, which is very crucial, very important for today's economic conditions.
And what impact, Shabnam, could it have on regional trade and integration?
For sure, the corridor will can unlock new opportunities for trade by offering shorter and more secure routes. For regional countries, this means increased exports, diversified markets, and reduced dependence on single transit direction. Over time, such interdependence it will strengthen economic integration. It will foster stability, which is very important for this region. And it will build mutual trust among countries, especially among neighbors.
And to what extent could the Zangezur corridor complement or compete with other initiatives such as China's Belt and Road or the international North-South transport corridor?
I think rather than competing, Zangezur corridor can complement these initiatives. Because it offers alternative routes and connections that can integrate into the Belt and Road as well as North-South transport corridor. The real value lies in diversification. You know, in economy, diversification means reducing costs, improving resilience, providing multiple gateways between Asia, Middle East, and Europe.
And what impact could the corridor have on regional economic integration, particularly for landlocked countries in Central Asia, because it will certainly extend its effect from the South Caucasus to Central Asia as well?
For landlocked Central Asian countries, connectivity is lifeline. The Zangezur corridor will give them additional access to European, Middle Eastern, and Mediterranean countries via Azerbaijan and Turkey. This project will bring them closer to global supply chain, and it will turn South Caucasus into a vital bridge. But I think the importance of Zangezur corridor goes far beyond Central Asia. In the post-pandemic period, global economic forecasts remain cautious, with many experts warning of new challenges, new economic financial challenges, and for tighter profit margins. In such circumstances, both states and companies, they are focused on cutting costs, increasing profitability, and finding new alternative ways, alternative financial, let's say, pillars. So in that case, then Zangezur corridor offers exactly this. It is an opportunity to diversify routes, reduce transport costs, expenses, and strengthen resilience in global supply chain. It is not only, I think, a regional project. It is part of broader response to global economic uncertainty.
Okay. And do you think, Shebnem, the project might encourage more foreign investment in Armenia and Azerbaijan? We know President Ilham Aliyev said earlier in an interview with Al Arabiya that he tried to deliver the message to Armenia that Armenia will become a transit country, and this is a good thing.
Sure, definitely. Infrastructure is very important, very crucial for foreign investment. I mean, good infrastructure. And infrastructure projects in such a scale, it signals long-term stability and attraction of investors. And you know, Armenia stayed away from all strategic transit economic projects during these years because of this conflict. And now it's a great opportunity for Armenia for being part of these regional and global projects. It opens access to regional projects after long years of isolation. And improved logistics, reduced costs, access to new markets are exactly the conditions that foreign investors are looking for. And, the stability, long-term stability and foreign investment, they are mutually inclusive issues. I mean, the long-term stability means more foreign investment, and more foreign investment, it will guarantee long-term stability as well. So it is, let's say, one of the good opportunities which Armenia can get after long years.
Okay, Shebnem, thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we have for today from Baku. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to A News for more updates.